Hello and welcome to One Plymouth News. Coming up on the programme, City College Plymouth welcomes a new principal, Penny Wycherley. She tells us what she would like to achieve during her time as the new principal.
So it's living a life which is a rounded life with people in it.
Also, students from different courses and different backgrounds here in Plymouth tell us what it's like to move into higher education, whilst others tell us their experiences of filming Hate Hate, a film used to spread awareness on hate crime across the UK. Media students from City College Plymouth have travelled to Hong Kong to witness a momentous occasion in the form of the first ever Asian Powerboat Championship. And citizens of Plymouth continue to be amazed by the second annual light-based event, Illuminate, which was held just last month. And Brexit, a vote which more than 30 million of voting age took part in, to decide whether the UK should leave or remain in the European Union. We spoke to students to get their take on the proceedings. Hello, I'm Jack Henderson and welcome to the One Plymouth News. After the departure of Gary Phillips, the former principal at City College Plymouth, Penny Wycherley, former principal of Waltham Forest College, is taking the reins as the new principal. After working in numerous fields and running many businesses in her prestigious career record, Penny aims to bring her experience in senior management to further expand City College Plymouth's reputation in the South West. Here at One Plymouth, we met with the new principal to discuss her thoughts on the new role. Thank you so much for taking the time out for us to interview you. I really appreciate it. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you end up becoming a principal?
I came into teaching late in life. I'd had a couple of careers before that. I was 41 when I started teaching.
Okay.
And I vowed that I would never be a manager again. I'd been a manager before. I loved teaching. Mm-hmm. And I got made an offer that was very difficult to turn down. And in 98, I became director of curriculum for a large £46 million college. And I realised something that I think I'd either forgotten or not thought about enough when I was a manager before, that actually being a manager is just like being a teacher, trying to develop the people with whom you're working. I then went to a college which had just come out of being inadequate, and I became an Ofsted inspector as well, so I became very focused on this improvement idea. Then I went to another college that was in trouble, and there was a motion of no confidence in the then principal at that college the first week I arrived, and I was principal. So I didn't actually apply to be a principal. It happened to me by accident. And I went from there to working with colleges in trouble, both as an inspector and running my own. I worked for a big company and then I ran my own company. And then I think I missed being in the closer contact. And I said one day, as an aside at the big conference of colleges, I think I could be a principal again. And 6 weeks later, I was principal of a college that had really badly fallen over.
Okay.
And that's what I've carried on doing since. So it's very much been going into places where there are issues. And working with the staff. One person does not do this. You have to be working with people. Mm-hmm. And it's about shared purpose and all sorts of things. So that's how I came to be a principal. Bit of a long story.
That's a really good story, though. It's good to know. So obviously there's a further education department as well as a higher education department. What would you say the differences are with studying higher education in a college as opposed to a university?
Lots of different ones. Depends what you study. Mm-hmm. So let's start with that. Colleges are more vocationally orientated than most universities. They focus on smaller classes, so for many young people and adults, those individuals may need more individual support. They may benefit from being in a more mixed community. Some colleges are much cheaper than universities. It's a big debt. They have better, often, contacts with employers. So there's all sorts of reasons why studying for some people is better in an FE college than a university at that level of study.
Right, okay. And you come from an NHS background, don't you? Is that right?
That's one of the careers I've had.
One of them, yeah. So obviously, because there's been an awareness in mental health recently, which has been getting bigger and bigger, what would you say students need to do in order to make sure they keep on top of their mental health whilst they're studying?
The best form of my understanding is the best way of protecting, of having a healthy mental health, is to engage with others, right? To debate, discuss, to develop what's called resilience, to have friends, that emotional well-being. Yes, study, but do other things as well. Take exercise. Be out in the fresh air. So it's living a life which is a rounded life with people in it.
So what would you say and advise to the students who have busy lives and busy courses? What do they need to do to keep on top of their studies?
Don't procrastinate.
Yeah?
Yeah. Actually think, I won't keep thinking about this, I'll do it now. So plan your lives. Because it's being a student is like being in work. It's a job.
Yeah.
And actually planning what you do and setting aside and giving yourself small rewards when you've done something well, which in work might be a cup of coffee. Why shouldn't it be like that outside work?
So what would you like to see be achieved here whilst you're principal?
Right, I'm not going to be here forever, so let's start with that. I will retain an interest in this after I left. So partly is I want to see this college go to outstanding. I think it is so close to it. The success rates, the student satisfaction, the way I see students and staff walking around, purposeful. I want to see the purpose and the college's success in achieving those recognised by Ofsted. I also would like them not to have to focus so much on the cash flow.
Okay.
Because that distracts from the students, from the community, from why we all do this job working with young people and adults in the community of Plymouth.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Penny. I really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank you. You may or may not know that the UK will leave the European Union on the 29th of March. And with a no-deal Brexit closing in, where does that leave the students? As it stands, universities in the UK will be facing some issues, seeing as the UK benefits from the EU research funding process. So we spoke with some students to get their thoughts on Brexit as a whole. Elliot Child-Maple reports.
The initial referendum, the vote in which 30 million people of voting age took part, took place back in 2016 to determine whether the UK should leave or remain in the European Union. Leave won by a close 51.9% to 48.1%. So, the question is whether Brexit will be taking place. Well, the UK government and the main UK opposition party both have gone on record to say it most definitely will. Although a few groups are campaigning to halt Brexit, the priority for the UK's elected politicians has been on the relationship with the UK and the EU after Brexit, instead of focusing on if the deal will go through. This whole ordeal has caused much concern among some, but what are the opinions of our youth?
It appears to me that Europe is not happy about us pulling out, and they are not just going to give us whatever deal that we want. I think it's difficult when you start giving second referendums, because the second referendum in itself is giving people the message that they should have doubted themselves initially and perhaps they were wrong and they should change their mind. So I think there's always going to be a bit of elasticity in that, where people are going to swing the other way if they were unsure the first time.
People's opinions will have changed. Yeah. But my concern is that the people that went out and voted originally will not be bothered to vote this time, so that there is not as many voting.
Well, I think honestly we should have a second referendum for what? When the vote was happening, I was 17, just under 18, so I couldn't get my vote. And I feel a lot of people who were voting, some are like older people, and some of them, in the time that the votes happened, have actually passed. So I think we do need a second referendum. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I expect a lot of people don't know what's going on. So, what was the original reason for Brexit? Because when that was happening, people were saying so and so would happen, but they were very vague about it. I just want to know what's going on.
I think that our generation I feel like that people 16-year-olds should be allowed to vote, because personally I would have voted against Brexit, as I think that we rely on a lot of our workforce, we rely on immigrants to do a lot of the unwanted jobs that we don't want.
We asked 63 students on their opinions on Brexit. 47% said they cared about the topic, whilst 53% said they do not. For those who cared, we asked them if there should be a second referendum, to which 47% said they would like it, whilst 53% would not. Finally, there was only 17% of students who were happy with the direction of Brexit, whilst 83% were not. From the research we have conducted, are we surprised by these results? Judging from those results, it seems the majority do not care for Brexit. This is Elliot Child Maple from 1 Plymouth News.
Advancing onto a higher education course at any college or university can be an exciting but nerve-wracking experience for any kind of student. For some, they might not be sure where to study or what course to study. We therefore spoke with students from City College Plymouth on why they decided to make the transition from further education into higher education.
Before I came to the college, I was actually working full-time, and I was made redundant, and I decided that I would try and change my life and go for something that I basically loved when I was a teenager and a child, and go into filmmaking.
With me studying film studies and going on to the diploma, I just felt it was necessary for me to finalise my higher education by staying here. The facilities that City College offer are just amazing.
It allowed mature students to study here for one, and because back at Tiverton, my original hometown, I couldn't study the course I wanted to, which was this course, media. I chose this course because it was always a passion of mine to get into the media industry. Unfortunately, I couldn't where I was living, but now here I am and I'm doing what I love.
I love films, and I always wanted to make films, and I saw on their site that they had a wide variety of equipment and projects that we could be working on. There's a lot of physical work, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do, more physical than theory.
The main thing I enjoy about the course is literally the hands-on physical side of it. So I'm not much of a writer, but if I can visually make something, I can explain it way more with a camera than I can with a pen and paper.
I enjoy the level of maturity on the course, I think, the most. The fact that you can just come in and get on with your work, and the lecturers just allow you to be yourself and do what you need to do to achieve your goals.
I suddenly found myself making a short film, and it pretty much went from there. And then within a couple of months, I was actually directing my very first professionally short film. So yeah, I just love everything about the course. It just does everything I want.
So I think my time at the college has definitely helped me refine down where it is I want to go in terms of media. So when I first started a diploma, it was sort of just like I want to study films, I want to make films, I just want to use a camera. And then as I progressed onto higher education, I've sort of found that there's all these sort of alleyways that you can go down. So cinematography is sort of my route now, and it's what I've fallen in love with, simply for the fact that I've had the ability to study what I wanted to.
What I'm going to do after I finish college is I have to get a job. So I'm hoping that with this course, I've made quite a few connections. I've done a bit of networking. I've been in contact with a local TV company, and I'm hoping that I can maybe move on and join them with a job, hopefully full time.
I believe it's going to take me forward because I think anyone would need these skills in the industry itself. If you don't know the skills, there's no way that you're going to thrive in the industry. I think the HE teachers are great. I think they really get stuck in with you. They really help you when you need it, and they allow you the time to learn things that you want to learn.
In other news, City College Plymouth held a hate crime conference this October, and students from City College Plymouth premiered their film Hate Hate to promote this issue.
Hi, I'm Amber Thorpe.
My name's Jack Mangan.
My name is Anthony Murphy-Jones.
I'm the 120 Learning Coordinator and sound recordist.
My job on the Hate film was the director of photography.
And I was the assistant director on the Hate crime film.
The film did take place in an environment that was very heavily driven by a lot of different sound, and from the victim's point of view, I wanted to create kind of like a closeness as well, so all the sounds that he would be hearing, they'd kind of be definitely brought up because of the tension that he's feeling and the anxiety as well.
It was quite challenging filming on the bus because obviously you're on a moving vehicle constantly. We had more than just me doing bits. We had Chris sometimes carrying the light in. Tony would sometimes use himself as a holster for me in case I fell down the stairs.
Well, initially I was supposed to be assisting Chris Bailey, who was our director in the film, but actually being a student and using this film as a way to learn. He was quite happy to hand the reins to me, and so I kind of was the director for about 4 days of the shoot.
It was just very much go, 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 because we had a lot of things in place that we had to get through, particularly with the bus as well. So we had a 2-day shoot with the bus, so I had to make sure that I had every single sound that I could possibly need, even to like the tiniest squeal of the brakes, maybe the wheel on the gravel as well, I definitely got. And it's just thinking about all those little things that maybe in the edit you don't pick up on, but it still makes it very real.
The final product I'm really happy with. All the shots look great. I'm really happy with the work I put into it, as well as everyone else's work. Like, everyone gave 110%, so it's just so nice to see a finished product of that quality come from us.
What I learned on there was to do with the actual production of the actual shoot itself, and I found that the only thing I think I could have done a bit was my preparation on what kind of shoots we're doing, but then again at the time, because the circumstances kept changing, we had to kind of improvise on the spot. So that was very difficult in the end to actually keep that going. But the fact we turned out the whole film in, what, 4 days, 5 days of shooting was quite amazing, really, the amount of what we did.
I think the finished film was absolutely perfect. I think it was a lot of stuff that we had to get through. Sometimes there was, things on location that we couldn't quite get how we wanted, but I think we worked around it definitely as a team. We collaborated to make sure that we were getting something that's high quality, good sound, good visuals, and ultimately it does put out a message to there as well. And I think it's just fantastic that in such short turnaround, you've got this amazing piece of film with a kind of background behind it and a conference and resources that you can ultimately just shove kind of to any film festival and go, this is what we've done, this is what we've done in a week, this is what we edited in a month, this is what we can do as well.
Studio Barracuda, a media company in the southwest which I have the pleasure to be a part of, went to Hong Kong in November to film the very first Asian powerboat race. Here's what they filmed.
The Asia Powerboat Championship, an event introduced by the Chinese powerboat racer Martin Lai. This event has recently taken Hong Kong and the worldwide fans of the sport by storm. It was on the dates of November the 9th to the 11th that the championships was held. Martin Lai himself took part in the races with his 10-year dream to host a powerboat race in Hong Kong. A small group of students from City College Plymouth who set up a company were lucky enough to document and experience the event, including our very own Jack Henderson.
So my name's Jack Henderson, I'm here representing Studio Barracuda and we're here at the Asia Powerboat Race. We've been here for a few days now. We've been doing some drone shots, we've been doing some interviews, photography, videography, so we've been doing all sorts whilst we've been here. So it's all been really good fun.
He flew out to Hong Kong to find out how the 3 days of racing would pan out, and he told us what he learnt from the experience.
It's taught me to be a lot more organised with getting the equipment sorted, stuff like that. And this is my second time working abroad and my first time working in Asia, so it's helped me see things in a new way where culture's concerned.
was powerboat racer Drew Langdon, who became the event's inaugural winner, using his years of experience and determination to be crowned the Asia Powerboat Race champion.
The winner of the very first powerboat race in Hong Kong yesterday. That must be a historical moment for you.
It was wonderful, and it was so nice to come to this venue. We've been going racing all around the world, and to come to another venue I haven't been to before was super. We've got a great scenery. They've looked after us well. The people are nice, so it's been great fun to be here. And yes, winning was a special event for me, so it's really nice to come with a good mark to start with.
This was Fleur Dyer reporting for One Plymouth News.
Recently, Plymouth got to witness a light-based display called Illuminate. And as this is the event's second year, what were the thoughts of those who attended? And what were the thoughts of those who actually hosted the event? Jack Mangan has more.
Just 1 year prior, Illuminate, the light-based festival that connects all of the Mayflower 400 destinations across the UK and internationally, transformed Plymouth's Royal William Yard into a beautiful display with the likes of installations and projections. This year, the Illuminate Festival continues to thrive and grow, utilising light art from both national and international eyes. It's evident that it is truly becoming a spirited, dynamic and exciting event for the citizens of Plymouth.
I think this is wonderful for Plymouth and wonderful for the community. It's so busy and it's lovely. It's really good. The children are loving it and it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
It brings together loads of culture. I mean, what we've seen on the projective screens earlier on for all the centuries, it tells a story.
Yeah,
it's absolutely amazing.
With the present looking positive for the event, what of the future? Jenny Bishop, head of marketing for the Real Ideas organisation, told us how the event came to be and what is on its horizon.
Okay, so Illuminate came about as a response to the Mayflower 2020 commemorations. A lot of Mayflower seem to be looking backwards. We felt it was really important to look forwards, not the last 400 years, but look forward to the next 400 years. How could we use some of the new technologies, digital platforms, to do something which was really future focused? There isn't an international production company behind this event. This is all from Plymouth. So for us to create something which showcased the creative industries, responds to Mayflower but looks forward to the future is what we tried to do with Illuminate. So our ambition for Illuminate is that it grows year on year up to 2020 in the Mayflower commemorations, but also that it has a life beyond that. So next year, 2019, Illuminate will be the start of the Mayflower commemorations, and we're hoping to grow the event. So of course we'll be in the yard, but we'd like to get some activity going across the waterfront. And then in 2020, we'd like to get light projections all around the Sound to create a ring of light to bring together both Plymouth here and the Illuminate locations around the country and around the world in a moment to commemorate Mayflower 400.
So why don't you try lighting up your life by attending the Illuminate Festival? If you missed it this year, you can always catch it next year. This has been Jack Mangan for One Plymouth News.
Recently, City College Plymouth showcased their production called Bent, which is based on the mistreatment of homosexuals. Elliot Chard Maple has more.
Hello, I'm Sam Pomeroy. I am a lecturer here at City College, and in my role as lecturer I have directed the production of Bent.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the event, Bent?
Yeah, so it's performed by the foundation degree students as part of the Halfway Up the Dark Festival, which in the Performing Arts Department at Christmas we've got a 2-week festival where each year group performs a show, generally around Christmas, although this one isn't very Christmassy or Christmassy at all. But our foundation degree students have been handed the challenge of Bent, which is a really powerful story about the mistreatment of homosexuals in Nazi Germany and how people remained human in a place that were treating them like animals and not treating them as humans. And it's about the strength of the human will, I think.
And with the message behind the story being so powerful, how is it for you to take part in something like this?
For me personally, it's a big deal because sort of my background and the industries that I've been in, I've seen some pretty horrific things as lots of people have. And this show, it tackles those issues, which it's based in Nazi Germany, but we're still seeing it today in the 21st century.
And so we need to make sure that we are giving it the respect and truth and dignity that it deserves in order to have those voices be heard, because they are not able to make their voices heard and not able to tell us. But we have a chance through theatre to do that. So there's always a little bit of added pressure.
And what would you say you've taken away from this experience the most? Is there one thing you can think of?
There's many things I can think of. Many things.
Okay.
This experience, it's really been an eye-opener for me, because when you do a show, you do lots of research on the period and what was going on. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about. And just doing a show like this at the college, it's not often that we get to perform something so powerful. Normally it's, especially around Christmas time, something a bit more light-hearted, and this is much more serious.
For me, it's about how you manage the rehearsal room, because we could have very easily just let it be this kind of depressed space and atmosphere where it's really affecting us and emoting us, and it does affect us and emote us, but we have to try and in the moments where we're not performing and we're not bringing the stories to life, we have to try and find ways to have a laugh with one another and reduce the stress. And so we played a stupid little ball game, and we played this ball game continuously for the past 2 months. And I always cheated, and I never let the person that wanted to win, just to wind them up. But it gave their mind something else to think about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's that.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your time.
No
That's it.
worries.
And that's all from us today. We thank you very much for joining us. And I've been Jack Henderson from One Plymouth News. Goodbye.